Like with Super and Earn, MrBeast's fund sold a lot of their XCAD early in 2021 rather than holding their tokens. And this was surprising to even the founder of XCAD himself, Oliver Bell.
Kind of hard to say that you are engaging in shady business when it seems like there's a pattern of MrBeast engaging in shady business. Well, who the f would buy this? It's like a guy that's balding. Who would ever engage with anything about somebody that's balding? People give MrBeast's lunchly like a problem. Oh, it has mold in it. Okay, free medicine? Penicillin is made of mold, idiot. Let me just tell you, MrBeast is not doing himself any favors with the way that he's constantly getting involved in controversy. All right, guys, this is breaking news. Actually, interesting looking. CoffeeZilla, the monster made of coffee, has made a video investigating MrBeast. I'm kind of curious about it. I know MrBeast has got a lot of criticism, some valid, some seems insane. So much so that I tuned out of a lot of it, which I don't think is unreasonable. So let's see what this is. It just came out. Let's watch.
Investigated MrBeast, who is recently accused of making $23 million with insider trading and scams.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay. I didn't know that was one of the things.
I wanted to know the full story, so I reached out to
What is insider trading? Because it's cold out. I'd rather do it inside.
everyone, from researchers to crypto projects, even to MrBeast himself. And let me say, the story
Is that when you like know information you're not supposed to know when you're doing trading stuff? Insider trading is the legal act of buying or selling company securities based on a non-public information about the company. Oh, I was kind of right. I learned that from that one movie with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. I forget what it's called.
is more complicated than you think. I want to be clear. What MrBeast did, what his team did, is shady. But what we care about is, did he cross that bright red line from shady to illegal scam? And contrary to what Twitter says,
Well, I would say maybe some shady things should be more illegal. Huh?
I don't think that's an easy answer. Instead, I think the answer will depend on you.
Yeah, I trust CoffeeZilla to be thorough too. Like he's a reputable guy, you know.
If you love MrBeast, there will be an explanation at every turn.
I did like the lunchly a lot, though. People give MrBeast's lunchly like a problem. Oh, it has mold in it. Okay, free medicine. Penicillin is made of mold, idiot. Incredible stuff.
And a scapegoat. But if you hate MrBeast, what I'm about to show you will seem unethical and like a clear abuse of fame for money. So already this story is difficult, but I want to make you aware of two more things which matter. First, I have gone to MrBeast's team to try to fact check this story extensively, and they declined to fact check or comment on my many questions. Instead, they gave me a statement which we will get to.
Okay.
Secondly, I have a bit of history with MrBeast. I interviewed and spoke positively about him in the past, but also his new co-founder is suing me.
Oh yeah, I forgot. They're doing this back and forth. Wait, I'm not like super up to speed. Didn't Logan Paul apologize to CoffeeZilla at one point? Why would he be suing him now?
And his other co-founder threatened to sue me.
Which one is that? This one? Okay.
So you can make of that what you will. As always, I just want to let you know where I'm coming from, and I've tried to get all sides of the story. We're going to start with the major allegations against MrBeast and build on those. They come from two sources.
Where's the slightly cringe robot in this? It's always a little bit fun to watch.
Firstly, an investigation by Soma XBT, which claims MrBeast made $10 million by backing low-cap crypto tokens, which are down 90%. And the second investigation comes from a group of 5 people who investigated MrBeast and found $23 million in profits from, quote, scams, shady deals, and his network. Now, there are a lot of crypto projects they go over, and I want to be clear. Some of these allegations, I agree, are...
I feel like all crypto is kind of shady, no? Isn't crypto basically just like stocks, but not backed or reputable? Like, that's my understanding. Maybe I'm just ignorant, but...
bad. Others, I think, are actually worse than have been reported, and still...
Oh, Logan Paul apologized and then he sued? Incredible.
Other allegations, I simply disagree with them on. So we're going to start with what I don't agree with. According to the report, Polychain Monsters, or PMON, is a project which KSI promoted heavily. MrBeast did not. But MrBeast did get in the pre-sale and make a lot of money, and thus...
Okay, well, was this one of those pump and dumps? What the hell is Polychain Monster? It sounds kind of cool. Like if I heard about, like, what is that? You buy you buy NFTs or something, and then you could play with them like Pokemon. That sounds kind of cool. Thank you for the $5 from Angel. MrBeast gave me a noogie and pulled my underwear over my head once. Seemed pretty chill to me. Yeah, well, some people are into that kind of thing.
The conclusion is made. It's highly likely.
Just some people.
MrBeast made an investment from that insider information of KSI's promotional deal. But there's simply no evidence provided of this. I have the same thoughts about Jigstack, another coin which KSI promoted, and the conclusion is, though MrBeast did not officially follow Jigstack, in his network, KSI was involved in promoting Jigstack. From this information, MrBeast invested and made a large return.
My thing is like, who's still buying these? Who are the idiots still buying these things, like expecting a return on them? That I don't understand. Why are you still making risky investments? I think that they're just trying to do that all or nothing, like, I want $1 million without any effort kind of a thing, you know? Which is very opposed to what I do, which is I make not $1 million, but I also put in very little effort. So it's called content creation, guys. Well, at least the kind I do.
Here again, there isn't.
Was there a flash?
Promoting Jigstack from this information, MrBeast invested and made a large return. Here again, there isn't concrete proof. Now, I asked the team who wrote this piece, and the lead author, Casper Vandeluk, told me, quote, having known MrBeast having a very strong connection with KSI, it's basically highly probable he was vested as a result of KSI. No concrete evidence, just going off probabilities. But I'm going to say I don't agree with that, and I'm going to toss those probabilities aside. I think it
just seems like this seems like a nothing burger so far with these ones.
Reach too far. Instead, I'm going to stick with what we can prove happened. Luckily, the biggest claims in this report, the biggest moneymakers, are much better supported by evidence. Starting with Super. This is the project MrBeast is alleged to have made the most amount of money on, over $10 million based on a pre-sale of $100,000. As for evidence, we have...
Well, so is it okay? Like, what's the issue? Is like the issue that they're investing money into something? Because I don't think it's an issue to invest money into these things unless you're doing that whole pump and dump thing to destroy the value of it, no?
Leaked screenshots showing MrBeast telling Super's founder that he can do 100K. Then we have a wallet that both investigations trace to MrBeast, sending 100K to the presale wallet. And then we have the same wallets getting millions of these Super tokens in a period of unlocks, which were almost all sold aggressively. Now, why is this bad? Well, MrBeast is obviously hugely influential, and he publicly associated himself with the project twice. Once on March 3rd, 2021, he responded to a tweet with eyeball emojis, and then he interacted a second time on May 12th, 2021. This is much worse. The founder, Elio Trades, had tweeted, there's a gym sitting there on the market at eye-watering prices set to explode during the DeFi Summer 2.0. MrBeast's response, Super? But what he doesn't say is that he'd already purchased a huge stake in Super at this point, and on...
Right, so those would be considered some form of an advertisement, like an indirect advertisement. Is that the issue that we're having here?
On the day that he's tweeting...
Is it a rug pull situation? Okay.
He was selling tokens, allegedly. Not only that, he had been selling tokens and continued to sell tokens. In the 72 hours after the May 12th tweet, MrBeast sold about $200,000 worth of these tokens. And remember the context. He's responding to the founder of the coin discussing a gym at eye-watering prices that's going to explode during the...
Yeah, this is like an indirect... I mean, the legalities on this are probably like murky. It's probably not illegal for him to just say Super and signal boost the fuck out of it on Twitter.
Summer. And MrBeast's response is the coin he's selling. So publicly, it's signaling, hey, Super is this undervalued coin.
Does CoffeeZilla explicitly say that these are rug pulls though, or are these just like investments where MrBeast is like a little bit shadily trying to push people towards buying something that he has an investment in?
And privately, MrBeast allegedly sold. Now, I ran these wallets by MrBeast, as well as the accusation, but I didn't get a reply. Instead, I got a heavily lawyered statement from a spokesman, who I'm going to warn you...
Which makes sense, because MrBeast is like an entity now. He's not really a person anymore.
...is about to complicate things. Quote, these investments were made and managed in consultation with industry experts to ensure full compliance with all appropriate rules and regulations.
That's probably true.
The wallet is not owned or managed by Jimmy, but rather a fund led by respected and sophisticated managers. The fund closely evaluated and scrutinized hundreds and hundreds of opportunities, which resulted in several investments. Some have...
It's bothering me that the fucking yellow lines are not touching each other. Sorry.
...been more successful, others less, and others still works in progress. The fund's investment strategies apply the same rigorous standards as many other experienced investors in the field. Now, I have a lot of questions, but the big thing is Jimmy denies doing any of the trading or managing the trading and blames it on a fund. So
I mean, I wouldn't doubt that he does that, although the fund is obviously working under his regulation. And I imagine they would run it by him before they made any major decisions, no?
Asked some obvious follow-up questions.
Yeah, I'm a fucking old person. I don't really understand the whole virtual trading coins either.
What is the name of this fund? Who are the industry experts? And what rules and regulations were followed that allowed you to tweet about a coin while your fund is selling? I didn't get a response. It's worth mentioning the spokesman is Matthew Hiltzik, a well-known crisis management consultant. Thankfully, online, there still are...
I guess that's who you'd hire, you know?
Are a number of clues we can't...
Like if I was a priest, I'd hire Epstein's lawyer. Although he didn't... Well, he didn't make out too well, huh?
And follow to try to find the right person for this fund. The reason most people link MrBeast to this wallet we've been tracking is...
He literally says, I bought this one. Okay. What the fuck is it?
Mostly based on a tweet by MrBeast saying he bought a specific crypto punk, which belonged to an account which goes by Wu-Tang Clan. People assumed, understandably, that this was MrBeast.
Is all this on Twitter? Because I see that there's sometimes when I do go on Twitter, I'll see fight videos, and all of them are have the logo of a casino at the bottom, which apparently is against the law in some capacity. I don't understand the specifics. That's just my understanding. I could be wrong. And Twitter doesn't do anything about it. So interesting.
Wallet. But what is lesser known is that another account has also tweeted about CryptoPunks and has the same ties back to Wu-Tang Clan. A guy named Jason Williams. He's followed by MrBeast on Twitter, and he's the author of a book on Bitcoin, so he's a crypto guy. And I found Jason tweeting about—
Who the fuck would buy this? It's like a guy that's balding. Who would ever engage with anything over somebody that's balding? Of course, who would ever do that?
Another CryptoPunk saying, I hope you
Who would ever want something like that? Ridiculous.
enjoy your new home, sold for 100 ETH. That sale he's talking about links back to the same address MrBeast does, Wu-Tang Clan. On YouTube, there's even more clues. Jason—
Oh, so now he's appropriating black culture? Get him! Get him!
Can be seen surfing wearing a Wu-Tang Clan shirt, and his brand name, Going Parabolic, happens to be owned by the same MrBeast wallet, goingparabolic.eth. So there's very good evidence that Jason Williams was also involved in this same wallet, which means that it might be true that MrBeast wasn't the guy buying or selling, which would be good for MrBeast and bad for these investigations. But just when I thought MrBeast might have no say in what this wallet did, I saw this podcast with Logan Paul, where Jimmy discusses CryptoPunks once again, and things get complicated.
So me and Logan both bought punks.
It's actually Logan and I.
You guys will probably see on his Twitter that he bought a bunch of CryptoPunks at the same time, right?
Yep.
Gary pulled us
Yep.
in that call.
Yep.
So have you ever told that story?
No.
Gary V, it's like 11 p.m. just out of nowhere, just calls me and he's like, "Yo, I got like 30 people to call. Hop in." I'm like, I don't care. He's like, "It'll be the best decision of your life. Just get in." That's
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah.
And so I just joined the call.
What a weird life to live when you got fucking Gary V calling you on the phone. How annoying.
And I just see like Logan and I don't even know these other people. I
Yo.
don't want to put them on blast.
Every heavy hitter you can imagine
Exactly.
who's worth $1 billion was on this one call, and Gary V is in the little corner, the little square. He's going, CryptoPunks. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be the next Facebook. Where all of us were like, okay,
Everyone's
Gary.
judging. I'm texting Logan.
He's
I'm like,
is
Gary lost
this
his mind.
legit? Bro, all of us were like, yo, Gary's nuts.
This is just like weird. It's cringe. It's like a weird rich person's club, but full of a bunch of fucking shady assholes. Like, wow. I'm so jelly. I'm fat. I made it jelly. I don't know, it just reads to me as like fucking weird.
Yo, Gary was right again.
I bought a bunch.
Wait.
Yeah, I bought quite a few.
How many?
I don't want to say, but
You have to say,
please.
you have to.
I bought multiple ones. Yeah.
Well, bro, are you in double digits, punks?
Double, just shy.
Huh. Well, this clip is very interesting because
Double digits punks? What does that mean? Like 10 punks? I have just shy. We have 9 punk. What does this mean?
Jimmy said he made the decision to get CryptoPunks based on a call with Gary V.
Yeah.
But those punks are owned by the wallet we just said was controlled by Jason.
It's a little bit deceptive there. He's saying that he didn't really make any meaningful decisions. It's actually a management fund, but it's actually, what the fuck? What? Dude, CoffeeZilla is insane. It's almost unhinged how that's okay. How does he even come up with this detective work? Like, imagine just like sinking through and like just fucking going through old MrBeast clips. It's wild.
Sometimes MrBeast is telling Jason what to buy for this fund.
Yeah.
MrBeast then later talks about selling these CryptoPunks and rolling the money into a new project. And once again, it sounds like he's in charge.
Well, I've already sold quite a few of them, so I don't.
What?
The
He's on to
things
the
are
next
expensive.
thing.
I bought a bunch of, so then I rolled the money into VFriends because Gary, same thing, called me. He's like, VFriends. I was like, I don't know, but last time I made money, sure.
I'll be honest, these clips to me make it difficult to assume MrBeast had no idea what's going on. He talks about CryptoPunks and VFriends like personal investments.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's getting calls from Gary V, and that would be the starter point. So I guess it would be one thing if so weird. We're talking about V punks and Mr. Gary V. How fucking insane is this? It'd be one thing if the person went to the manager, the guy's MrBeast's like whatever crypto manager, and was like, "Hey, we're doing this, whatever." But it's like he's calling him directly, which means MrBeast has to be saying like, "Hey, we should do this," and getting the confirmation from the individual, like whatever manager he's claiming to use, which he probably is using somebody for the more complex aspects of this. But
And on Twitter, he says that not only he bought CryptoPunks, he also tweets about loading up on VFriends. But again, I have
like a
to say,
drug.
it is also abundantly clear Jason Williams was involved. He says, "Hey Gary, thanks for
what the fuck is who would who would ever buy this? I don't understand.
the VFriends gift code. It was a gift from Gary to MrBeast. I'm very thankful for it. He didn't have to say
I don't get it. This is so beyond me. It's
and anything. So once again, Jason Williams appears to be involved and have something to do with the trading or management of MrBeast's crypto wallet, but we know MrBeast made some of the decisions. So of course, I asked MrBeast to explain himself if he had any say over the trading, but once again, there's no response. So now I want to turn back to Super. We know from leaked DMs that MrBeast and not Jason set up this pre-sale, and
I feel like I'm watching Batman right now. A little, maybe like slightly gay Batman, but that's never. First of all, it's never an insult because it's very cool to be gay. It's like, well, Batman is so masculine. You know what I mean? Like, gay Batman is basically Superman. Right? If you think about it.
we know that MrBeast made the tweet. So now we have to guess. Here's what we know. We know.
I mean, he would probably argue, "Oh, I have a management team managing my social media stuff. It's not really me." But at what point do we just say, like, "Okay, fuck off. Like, you're like that is you." Like, you know what I mean?
MrBeast set up the pre-sale according to leaked screenshots. We know MrBeast made the tweet, but we don't know whether it was Jason doing the trading of Super, or if he was doing the trading, did MrBeast know about it? Did Jason know about the tweet? These are the questions that ultimately matter.
See, Jason Todd. It's all coming together. Batman thing.
And yes, I reached out to Jason Williams for a comment. He didn't reply. I did, however, get a hold of Elio Trades, who is the founder of
the pizza, Elio's Pizza, yeah.
Super, and he insisted that MrBeast's tweet was not a part of a deal for promotion. But you should know, he also mentions how upset he was with how pre-sale investors sold their tokens, saying most of them sold.
Oh. So is this like a light pump and dump? Is that what this is?
Including MrBeast. So those are the facts. MrBeast gets involved in a pre-sale, for some reason tweets at this project twice, one time on the day his fund is selling tokens, where he seems to imply that they're undervalued. In total, he's alleged to have made $11 million with this deal, according to the report.
So this would be some kind of like, this is like a shady pump and dump, right? Like, my understanding of what a pump and dump is you start a coin, you get a bunch of people in on it and excited, and then you like dump all your coins or whatever you have when the value is at really high. But since there's such a mass exodus, it tanks the value of it for anybody that's left. And so they're getting in on these NFTs in a pre-sale or whatever they are, it's crypto in a pre-sale. And then they're like, yeah, we're going to pretty much dump it immediately to people. And they're just making a bunch of money and then they're stepping away from it. I just feel like if these are so susceptible to this type of debauchery, why are people buying this shit? It just, I don't know. This seems sketchy. And it seems like there's not as many regulations on these NFTs or cryptos or whatever the fuck they are. That there should be. There should be more regulations, but since it's like an online thing, we're so slow to regulate online shit. So it seems ridiculous.
So yeah, that's really bad. Now we're going to turn to another allegation, which is about Earn, or Eternity Chain. There are some facts which are the same. There are others that are different. For example, instead of MrBeast setting up the deal directly, the team at Earn claims they never spoke to MrBeast. Quote, "We were speaking to his fund manager. And when I asked about these wallets selling allegedly over $4 million in tokens, they say, quote, MrBeast's fund was an early investor in our presale. He had the same unlock schedule as everyone else. Were we happy with the way he sold? Definitely not. But legally, there was nothing we could have done. And then just..."
Okay, so it sounds like maybe he had the intention of going in and doing a pump and dump for himself, but the coin itself is trying to maintain some kind of reputability. Couldn't they pull him in and say, like, you can't sell for a month, and then here are the protocols for you selling?
Like with Super, they claim they didn't ask for a promotion of the project, but that MrBeast decided to comment once himself anyways.
That makes sense that would happen. That would make sense, especially if MrBeast was allegedly going to do a pump and dump for himself. It would make sense that he'd want to plug it. No?
On March 9th, 2021, MrBeast responds to Eternity Chain saying, "This one will be hype." It's worth noting, once again, about 24 hours before saying this fund wallet purchased over $100,000 of Earn tokens in addition to the presale. Now, what is different about Super is that MrBeast's name was put publicly on the Eternity Chain website. On their investors and partners page, you might be asking, well, which is it? Is he an investor or a partner? And the answer is...
Wouldn't you just be both? What is the difference between an investor and a partner? Is a partner just like a public investor? So that like there would be like the implication of an advertisement there. Just putting MrBeast's name on your website gives you more credibility, no? Because it gives you whatever MrBeast's perceived credibility is.
Both. He got into the presale, and the Earn team also claims that he partnered with them.
Whoa, spelling error?
For an NFT drop. Supposedly, it was a charity drop and a normal NFT drop. Now, the charity drop specifically did happen in association with one of MrBeast's projects, Team Seas, saying, quote, "All proceeds will go towards cleaning up the seas around the world." This was early November 2021. Okay. Then, the official Team Seas account posts it on November 3rd.
Oh yeah, this was when Mr. Beast got like some criticism for helping clean up the season, right?
For 2021, quote, "What an awesome crypto collaboration in support of the team." Then the CEO of Eternity Chain, Nick Rose, confirms in Telegram that the drop is supported by MrBeast, saying Earn and ETH tokens will be
What the hell is the breathing? Is that like an audio intentional?
accepted for the charity auction, which was slated to last 2 months. Now, the reason I'm sharing all
Or is that just me yesterday after I ate a bowl of ice cream? And I was just like breathing a little heavy. You know?
of this is because 1 month into this 2-month charity auction on November 30th, 2021, the Rocket Fund or Beast Fund or whatever you want to call it starts selling huge amounts of this Earn token. Allegedly, they sold over $2 million, while the charity itself was still going on. Now, I know that sounds horrible. It looks horrible. It is horrible. Although I have to tell you, personally, I don't think this was a master plan to pump a coin with a charity auction. If it was the plan, it was a bad one because the NFT auction was ultimately a flop. But do I also think it doesn't matter because
This is a little over my head. I'm not quite understanding what exactly he's referring to. I can still rewatch this again because I'm just a little confused.
it's selling huge on November 30th, 2021, the Rocket Fund or Beast Fund or whatever you want to call it starts selling huge amounts of this Earn token.
So they're selling it to get rid of it when they're supposed to, when the idea would be to hold on to it.
Allegedly, they sold over $2 million,
So they sold a bunch of these tokens that they had, which deflates the value. Is that what we're saying?
while the charity itself was still going on.
And there is I don't understand the charity aspect.
Now, I think this was a master plan to pump a coin flop, but do I also think it doesn't matter because regardless of your intentions, selling tokens within a month of your 2-month charity auction is wrong, stupid, and unethical?
That makes sense. Okay, now I'm understanding it. Okay, so there's a 2-month charity auction for this. And Mr. Beast supposedly is doing charity, but he sells it a month in, which reduces the confidence in the charity that he's supposedly supporting, making it less about charity. And he's just trying to walk out. You know, maybe there are other people doing the same thing and he didn't want to lose money on it. But I mean, if you're doing this for a charitable cause, you shouldn't be. You should have confidence in it and you should stay in there, no?
Yes, I think that as well. Because in case you forgot, MrBeast is the charity guy whose name is on the website. It isn't a fund. It isn't a crypto rocket fund. It's MrBeast.
So it seems like what he did was legal, but I would just say it would be immoral. If this is for charity, why would you pull out? Like, you should stand firm with like the charity, no? That's the whole point of it, is to be a charity. I understand people can make money, you know, utilizing charities, and it's like, okay, whatever. But I feel like this goes against, I would say, some kind of moral or ethical aspect of it.
Branding. I even asked the Earn team about this, saying, quote, "Why did y'all list MrBeast instead of Rocket Fund in your partners investors? Was that discussed?" They say, quote, "We listed him, MrBeast, as a partner, and quote, yes, they accepted that." So according
You think it's money laundering? Maybe.
to the Earn team,
What would they be money laundering? What exactly would they be laundering, though?
MrBeast knew
Do you think he's selling drugs or something?
or should have known that his name was on the line for this investment and partnership. And yet, this fund, his fund, whatever you want to call it, sold tokens 1 month after starting a 2-month NFT auction for charity. To be fair again, though, it's hard to oversell
What the fuck is this?
how bad this NFT auction did. I've found only one NFT that appears to have sold here, but the bids were made in the Earn token, which the fund was selling, and the actual sale of the NFT didn't happen until after the fund sold in November 30th. The transfer happened in December 23rd. So of course, I went to MrBeast directly to answer this and see if there was some more context
So are we saying that maybe the reason why he backed out of it is because it was incredibly unsuccessful and he wanted to like try to get as much money out of it as he could after like going on the way out?
they could provide. There was no response other than the statement we've already read from MrBeast that he did not control the trading. Although again, that isn't a really satisfying answer because we've established MrBeast would sometimes direct what to buy and sell to this fund, like CryptoPunks. Personally, like I said,
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like when Gary Vee is involved, I would believe that MrBeast had like some kind of a manager do this one. I mean, okay, maybe, I mean, again, I don't understand it 100%, but maybe they pulled out early because it wasn't going to do well and they just wanted to like get out with as much money as possible. How much did MrBeast put in? Did he say? Like, did he make a profit or did he just kind of not lose too much?
don't think this was a pre-planned scheme. But regardless of intentions, if you're the charity guy, you support a charity, it flops while your fund makes millions of dollars in profits because it's
made billions in profits. Okay.
selling the same Earn token people could bid on the charity with. That just is awful. And you should feel awful about it. Look, now I want to move on from that.
Does that mean that his selling of the token competed with the charity selling? Does that make sense? Oh, this is fucking so complicated to me.
To talking about our final token, XCAT. This is a token you may remember from our investigation into MrBeast's business partner, KSI. But unlike KSI, MrBeast was not
These three are really just putting a fucking target on their heads. Like, this is crazy.
Not promoting it a lot on Twitter. In fact, the only reason we know MrBeast was in the presale is that there were several articles about it bragging about that fact. Once again, MrBeast's name was used to promote this instead of the fund itself. And internally to investors, I have to say, this built up a lot of excitement, not just because MrBeast is a huge name, but because XCAD had what's called creator tokens. So the idea to some investors is that, well, if they're investing MrBeast and KSI, what if they were ever to launch creator tokens? That would be massive. And I bring this up because some people might ask, like, what do these affiliations, how do they impact people buying these projects?
Obviously, they'd have a higher chance of them buying the project because their favorite creators are buying it.
And the answer from what I've seen,
it's their favorite creators project. It's associated with it.
Is they actually do impact it quite a lot because
no
people
kidding.
are anticipating like further involvement. And also the idea is like they must not be investing unless they're long-term holders. You can
Maybe. I mean, I think part of it too is that they just like that creator, so they'll jump onto whatever that creator does.
see this in the Telegram chat. It became so common that in the XCAD community, one of the admins says, "Here we go again," another community member asking if there's any possibility of a MrBeast KSI token. And meanwhile, by the way, as that's happening, as the investors are hoping for these creator tokens and that they're imminent, behind the scenes, something entirely different had been happening. Like with Super and Earn, MrBeast's fund sold a lot of their XCAD early in 2021 rather than holding their tokens. And this was surprising to even the founder of XCAD himself, Oliver Bell.
Well, it's kind of hard to say that you aren't engaging in shady business when it seems like there's a pattern of MrBeast engaging in shady business over and over and over again when it comes to these cryptos. And you could argue that it has to do with the lack of regulation when it comes to this stuff, but I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like MrBeast, just optically, you're already going through quite a bit. Why would you want to pile this on top of you? This makes it seem even worse.
Who said they told him they were going to do the opposite. He tells me, quote, "Hey, so MrBeast reached out to me during our pre-sale raise. A group was set up with his team, and we had a call with his team, and they said they liked the concept. There was no strings attached to the investment. They did, however, want to..."
Why didn't these people spell correctly? There is no strices. You'd think that they would spell correctly if they're, some kind of a figurehead of this, or at least from a media perspective.
Bigger ticket than what I offered them, which I'm glad I did not fulfill. We discussed not just flipping this token, as this can damage projects if people have decent sized tickets. It was my understanding we were aligned on this. However, after listing to which XCAD performed well, there was heavy dumping from a wallet linked to MrBeast's team. I got in contact with them immediately and asked them why they were selling like this.
I have a question. I know it sounds weird, but it says a wallet linked to MrBeast's team. Does that mean that MrBeast had multiple wallets on this? So did he, and I don't know if this is true, but did he have like a main wallet where he did investing and he held on to that? And then did he have an off wallet where he would dump so he can kind of like have his cake and eat it too, engage in both? Be like, oh yeah, I'm supporting this, but then also he still does a bit of a dump. Maybe I'm being stupid, but...
Now, Oliver later claims this discussion about flipping tokens and them being aligned about the fact they're not going to flip these tokens so quickly was with Jason. And apparently, Oliver was so upset about what happened, he DM'd Jimmy directly, quote, explaining his team will ruin his reputation. And look, sorry to be a broken record, but yes, I reached out to Jimmy.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. That would ruin his reputation. Even if MrBeast is not the one doing it, his team is going to.
About this too.
Yeah, he has over 10. Okay, interesting.
And once again, there was no reply besides the statement we read earlier. It's worth mentioning that I asked Oliver for proof of this message about ruining relationships, and he said the message had been deleted on Telegram. So who you believe here is up to you. Oliver also says, quote, "I don't think Jimmy has a bad heart or is a bad person. I think he has genuine interest in the crypto space, but I think the team that handles his crypto is completely clueless." And here, on this last point, I have to disagree.
Well, it sounds like they know what they're doing to make money. But at the same time, it sounds like maybe MrBeast's goal can't only be making as much money in the short term as possible because he has a reputation that he needs to uphold, which is already going through quite a bit of fire, no?
Agree with Oliver. I don't think that Jimmy's crypto team is clueless. I think they saw an opportunity to make millions of dollars with MrBeast's valuable brand, and they took it, and they did make millions of dollars. And along the way, they did some things that were shady. Whether or not you...
I mean, it's possible that MrBeast was like, oh, I want to get into this crypto space. And then he hired people that were in the crypto space, but it's very normal in the crypto space to kind of like, borderline scam people. So then they ended up weaponizing MrBeast's reputation and just like kind of tanking it. That's possible. Or maybe MrBeast is a poopy head. I don't really know.
You think they were also illegal is probably going to be shaped by our unanswered questions and where you fill in those gaps. For example, do you think MrBeast knew about the selling that was going on May 12th for the super token? Why did he make that tweet? And then, do you think MrBeast knew about the charity auction and the selling that was happening on November 30th?
I mean, it's awfully sketchy, honestly.
And do you think Oliver Bell DM'd MrBeast and told him his crypto team would ruin his reputation? And if so, was that ignored? I hate to leave.
Did he say he was going to ruin his reputation, or did he say his team was going to ruin his reputation? It seems like he's saying MrBeast's team that's selling this stuff will ruin his reputation, not that they'll ruin the reputation.
DM'd MrBeast and told him his crypto team would ruin his reputation, and if so, was that ignored?
Oh, I guess he just said that. I'm being fucking stupid. I heard it wrong.
I hate to leave so many unanswered questions here, but I warned you, this was a complicated story. And a big part of the problem is the guy at the center of this story cannot or will not give more than a heavily lawyered statement through a spokesman who's a crisis management consultant. And
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense on the one hand because he's now an entity, but there is still a level of MrBeast who is a person. And so, like, he might want to get into a habit of doing a little bit more than these indirect statements, especially considering how often he seems to be in a situation where he has to give these indirect lawyered up statements.
let me just say it's also frustrating that this statement takes zero accountability. Despite the fact MrBeast's team knew every major allegation that we're laying out here today, there's no mention of selling while MrBeast was tweeting about Super Token. There's no mention of them selling tokens a month after they partnered with a 2-month charity auction. And
well, yeah, of course, they're not going to potentially incriminate themselves in the response to it.
Because of that, this statement feels very hollow. I think to MrBeast and probably to his fund, maybe this is just business, you know? They set out to make a lot of money, and they made a lot of money. What's the problem, right? This is America. They might think this is the biggest MrBeast nothing burger since MrBeast Burger. But look, honestly, I'd agree with them if they had...
I liked the MrBeast Burger. It was decent. It was just inconsistent. That's because I think a mechanic's office made it. Like an actual mechanic. That seemed to be where the food was coming from when I ordered it.
done this crypto stuff without using
Because you
MrBeast's
gotta get
name.
it through like Uber or whatever.
But they want to have their cake and eat it too. This fund trades on MrBeast's name, as we've seen. They get in pre-sales based on his name. He tweets from his public account, and they're putting his name publicly on projects' websites instead of a fund. But when things go south, suddenly, oh, MrBeast, what? No, no liability, just because he's not sitting there physically pressing the buttons. I don't think that's the way it works. Look, I want to close with the final part of this CryptoPunks podcast we showed you earlier, because in many ways, I think it's a microcosm of this story. Obviously, I have to say, I'm not making any comments or judgments about the guy who's suing me, who's also in this clip. That's just coincidence. I am only talking about MrBeast's reaction, because as MrBeast is talking about Gary V's great CryptoPunks call, there's a moment when the co-host says, hey, maybe it's...
You got a little Trumpy on that one. It's just like the mannerism.
Instead of Gary V being a genius, maybe it's just the call itself that makes the market. And MrBeast kind of defends it. He says, no, that was in February. You know, CryptoPunks didn't pop until the summer. And, you know, I never talked about CryptoPunks until this very moment.
Can I ask you guys a question? When Gary does that call with all these billionaires and 8 months or a year later, everybody's like, Gary was right again.
Yeah.
Is it possible that he's right because of the call? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think about that a
like,
lot.
dude, he has all these
I think about
billionaire
that a
market
lot.
makers in the thing.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. That he's like, hey, this is a thing, and then he gets other people to put their confidence in it, and that's what makes it a thing. That seems to be how all crypto works. It's about the confidence that people have inside of the crypto that actually makes it work or not.
He makes the call, makes the market. By the way, you look around at all the punk owners a year later, and you're like, damn, it's all the same motherfuckers that were on the call.
No, because bro, there's 10,000 punks, and there's only like 30 of us on the call. We can only own and do so much. There's still an entire market that's gonna happen regardless.
I can tell you, I don't think why, because that was all back like early February. Like
Right.
things didn't pop off till later, and every like NFT project was popping off. Not just
This just sounds like they're stupid. Like, obviously, that's how all of it works. You have a bunch of incredibly rich people putting their name into it and putting their money into it, even if their names aren't directly attached, which I think that they were. I'm pretty sure that's what they said earlier. There's like so many projects that I can't remember specifically. That's still putting in some kind of like level of confidence and worth into it, like some kind of value. So obviously that has like a lot to do with it.
punks.
I mean, make no mistake. Like having such influential people involved in projects, it can't hurt the ability for the project to
but like
work. You know what I'm saying?
95% of those people didn't even mention it. You know what I mean? Like, I've never talked about it publicly.
Yeah, but that last part isn't quite true. The reason we're all here
Yeah, right. 'Cause he said it right here. I bought this one. He did mention it publicly.
is MrBeast tweeted about CryptoPunks the same day he bought them back in February of 2021.
For
That's how we found his wallet,
$100,000.
even though we now know someone else was involved too. And I would apply the same level of scrutiny to many of the investments we've talked about. Was it the genius of Jason Williams, MrBeast, or this fund that made them tens of millions of dollars? Maybe. Or was it the fact that the name they brought to the table was MrBeast, one of the most influential and valuable brands in the world? And that's what got them the great deals. That's what got them a bunch of eyeballs. That's what made it so valuable to have his name on these websites. And maybe that's what made the market. Ultimately, I think it's for you to decide.
Well, I can't even decide what I want for dinner. So, where's the robot? Where's the robot, CoffeeZilla? Oh, he's not gonna put the robot. Just showing us. Where's the robot? We didn't get the robot, guys, but this is interesting. MrBeast really. Let me just tell you, Mr. Beast is not doing himself any favors with the way that he's constantly getting involved in controversy. So.